Welcome to the I Hate Critics movie review podcast. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick. With me is Jeff.
Your mother sucks cocks in hell, Karis. I mean, hey, how's it going? Sorry, I had a little something in my throat. I think it was the devil.
My mom is dead, man. Come on.
Your mom wasn't the devil.
No, she wasn't. She was awesome.
Your dad, on the
If
other
there's a
hand.
heaven, she's the chairman. Um and your mom is there with her on the party planning commission. Oh.
My mom's cleaning up after
But our
everybody.
dads are somewhere else. We'll not even talk about that. This is episode 666, so it's not going to be a typical episode. We've got no new movies on this week. We're just going to be talking about our love for Satan. Basically, we are a Satanist podcast. Obviously, we got a gay guy on here, so
clearly we are the devil.
The second we added a gay man to the show, we were already going to hell.
Yeah, Bob, I didn't know you were gay. I mean, but I thought Bob was a family man.
When was the first time someone told you were going to hell for being gay?
Me personally, or just in general?
Just in general.
That I heard it. It was so long ago that I think it was, I think it might have been the first time I remember hearing it was in Sunday school at our Catholic church in LeClaire, Iowa, and Linda Heaton, I think, was her name, and somebody said something about a picture of Jesus in one of the catechism books where he was showing some pubes, like, it was some real low hanging loincloth action going on. And somebody made a comment, well, I hope you're not like one of those people because they're all going to hell. And the way she said it, I was just like, I still believed in all that shit at the time. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to go to hell. And then I thought, well, if she's going to be in heaven, maybe that's, okay. Yeah, the thought of hell over like a Christian heaven with a lot of these people who tell you you're going to hell, it's not the thing you think it is. It's more, oh, okay, good.
I can't remember if it was a Bill Hicks bit or Dennis Leary stealing from Bill Hicks. It's one or the other. He was talking about how why wouldn't you want to go to hell? All your favorite bands are there. It's like, fuck, you're right.
I mean, they do seem to have more fun down there.
That's why I've never understood like religion. Like the whole religion thing has always been so confusing to me because the message is God loves you, God forgives, but fuck the gays.
Yeah.
What? Where? What? Like, and Charles Manson could reject everything on his deathbed and just say, God, I'm sorry. And he gets in, but fucking gay people don't? What? How? Yeah. What? Michael Milken, this fucking criminal, Michael Milken, turned his entire fucking life around just pretending to be a brand new Christian after he stole millions of dollars from elderly people and spent years in prison. Like, are you kidding me? What is this religious bullshit?
Look, if you are religious, congratulations. That's great for you. I love that for you. Here's my only problem with religion in general is that if you are using your religion as a cudgel against people to, like condemn somebody because of their skin color or their sexual orientation or their gender identity, anything like that is just an excuse for you to do that. If you are, I have a friend who is a Christian pastor who literally is doing what Jesus Christ tells you to do in the Bible, and that is help the sick and the homeless and, the lesser people. And I love how they always say, oh, the lesser of us, but he's literally, that's his whole life's mission. He and his whole family, and that's what they do. His church is all about helping others and being, stewards of other people. And that I'm fine with. The thing is like, I know more atheists that do, good deeds, and they first of all, they don't broadcast it. They just say, "Oh yeah, I volunteered at a soup kitchen, or I volunteered at Ronald McDonald House," um, something like that. But they're not throwing it in your face and hitting you over the head with it, and they don't have to go to church to do that stuff.
Yeah,
So if
exactly.
you're a
And like
good person, you're upholding your Christian faith.
a movie that
So,
would definitely be on Bob's list if he were here would be the documentary Hail Satan,
gee,
because it's all
oh
about the
yeah,
Church of Satan and the amazing things that they do, because they do actual charity and they do actual like legal work. Like if one of these states tries to put the 10 commandments in a school, they're like, well, hang on a second, you're going to have to hang our stuff too.
mm-hmm.
Which is one of my favorite things they've ever done. Apparently,
Baphomet statement.
Kim Reynolds, the governor of Iowa, was just super offended by the fact that they had to have a satanic display at the Iowa State House, and it just made me so proud to know that those guys are out there, just doing God's real work,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
offending Kim Reynolds.
soon to be former governor of Iowa. Yay!
Yay!
She's actually I give it to her. She is going to spend more time with what she loves, allegedly alcohol and drinking while driving. Um,
Jesus.
allegedly,
Allegedly.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I look at it like this: if you are a good person and you go to church on Sunday and you want to do all your good stuff, but as soon as you turn away from church and go to Denny's and you're a bitch to the waiter, that's not being a good Christian. Just because you
Exactly.
go to church. And the whole, oh well, Satan is out to get us. Well, I don't believe in deities. Um, so Satan, as far as I'm concerned, Satan is just is a boogeyman as much as Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger. Just something to scare you into doing something quote unquote right.
And I think you should be suspicious of anybody who wants you to be afraid of something. If there's somebody who's telling you need to be scared of this, and I'm the only one who can protect you from it, be suspicious. Do not listen to them. They are full of shit. They're just trying to take advantage of you. They're trying to take advantage of the things you're afraid of. And anybody who tries to do that via religion is kind of evil. Not kind of evil. They're just evil. That's the devil, frankly speaking.
Mm-hmm.
If they're trying to make you afraid so you'll give them money and listen to them, they're bad people. Frankly speaking, churches don't need your money. Especially mega churches do not need your money. They don't. Stop giving it to them. They're fine. They've got way too much money as it is. If your pastor is telling you he needs a private jet because that's what God wants for him, I mean, that's the devil talking to you. That is not That's not Jesus speaking. That's the devil talking.
We're
Jesus
talking about
doesn't
you,
need a
Kenneth
private
Copeland.
jet.
Yeah, he can just fly. Does Jesus have extra aerodynamics with the holes in his feet and hands?
I think he's got upgrade service on United. He's fine.
He whistles when he flies.
He has got unlimited miles. Jesus, you don't have to worry about him.
Oh God, is anybody still listening to us at this point? You think?
Oh, probably if they didn't stop listening before, I don't know why they're listening now.
Oh, I know a few people that tell me that they listen that will really appreciate this. This
Good.
whole 666.
So, what is your favorite cinematic depiction of Satan? Have you seen a good Satan on screen?
There's a few. I really Jack Nicholson in The Witches of Eastwick. I think he is, he's got that hedonist kind of quote unquote devil may care attitude as the devil. He's one of my favorites, and it's not even a horror movie, and you know how much I love horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think Al Pacino plays a really good devil. And
The Devil's Advocate?
yeah, in Devil's Advocate and in Angel Heart, Robert De Niro, two of our greatest living actors playing the devil. So I think those three, most of the movies that I like that are demonic or Satan inspired don't necessarily have, an outright depiction of the devil.
There aren't many that
It's
have like a big presence for the devil that is actually like genuinely evil. Like South Park is a comedy and a
yeah.
send up and uh, such a
Oh, gosh,
weird
the Dom.
depiction. I've always
Oh, I
been
don't.
curious. What do you think of the depiction of Satan as a gay man dating Saddam?
I think it's fucking hilarious. I think it's like, oh, it made me laugh so hard when I saw that movie the first time and the second time and probably the 10th time. Um, honestly, like, if he was calling me the F slur, I might be a little offended,
Right.
and he wasn't also an F slur. But I don't get too offended by stuff like that.
Hmm.
Real life shit.
I love that a movie came up with an idea to give Satan a redemption arc. That was good. That was
Yeah,
good stuff.
yeah.
That's, you don't see that enough in movies.
This is true. This is
In
very
terms of like actually seeing the devil on screen, I think Tim Curry in
Oh yeah.
Legend is probably the best. I mean, because he's got the look, he's got the malevolence, he's evil, he's the like, and he's Tim Curry. Like,
Mhm.
so there's like always going to be this element of camp, even when he's being as serious as he possibly can.
Yes. Yes, very much so. Yeah, that look, the look of him in that movie is phenomenal. Um,
That is probably the most spectacular. Because I don't think that's a good movie, but I do think he's good.
yeah,
I think he's the only thing anybody remembers about that movie, really, and it's because of they put so much effort into that makeup and that look, and he put so much energy and effort into that performance that yeah, of course he's the only thing anybody remembers about that movie.
yeah. And I don't even know that I've ever seen it. I think if I did, it was on VHS in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I mean, that look is never not memorable.
No, it other than maybe I think another comedy that featured Satan, Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny, is the only one that has a Satan that kind of compares in terms of look. That Satan is played by Dave Grohl. And the
Mhm.
premise is basically kind of like the devil goes down to Georgia. But this in this case, the pick of destiny is a tooth that was knocked out of Satan's head and is turned into a guitar pick, and then Tenacious D battles the devil in a matchup of heavy metal.
Wow. Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds
Dave
great.
and Dave Grohl crushes it. He crushes the role of Satan.
Good to know.
Yeah,
I
people
will possibly check that
comedies
out.
comedies do like kind of using the devil more than even horror movies do. Horror movies seem to prefer having like because we don't want to go big yet. It's like we don't want to go directly
Right.
to the big man. We'll have a few of his minions arrive and spread his message and take over children and old ladies.
And fashionable New York socialites with pixie haircuts. Yeah, I as far as like looks goes, I think Tim Curry is hands down the best visual representation. Um, but I'm still, like I still think that the more subtle uh are there, aren't they, kind of devils. There's plenty of demons in movies, and we can talk about some of those too as we go along,
Mhm.
talking about our favorite uh satanic devil movies. But I always thought that I'll get us started by talking about one of my favorites, which is Prince of Darkness, which is 1980s John Carpenter, where there's no physical depiction of the devil, but the idea that they find this green goo in the basement of a church, um, that in or a monastery, in the Brotherhood of Sleep, who
Mhm.
communicated through their dreams, and it's this green goo, that liquid that kind of it flows upwards, um, and seems to possess people inside this monastery and in the church. Have you seen that one?
Oh yeah, we did that one on the show when it turned 30 back in 2017 or whatever it was.
Oh, okay.
And for me, like I do agree that the depiction of evil is pretty good, and Carpenter's a pretty amazing director. I do like it more than I like Halloween, obviously.
Hmm.
'Cause I don't like Halloween at all. But um, I the thing about that movie that's always held me back about really liking it is just there's sort of a charisma void in the cast. Like there's no movie star to kind of hold the center of it.
Yeah, but it's got Jameson Parker in it, Sean. Half of Simon
See,
and Simon.
I cannot take him seriously. I cannot take him seriously in a movie. It's just so silly looking to me. He is not a movie star.
I just think I when you say lack of charisma, I think Donald Pleasance chewing the scenery does it for me
Mhm.
because he's never not like I haven't yet to see a movie where he's not breaking off chunks of whatever the closest scenery is and just chewing it loudly and with his mouth open. You know,
He is he's incredible in anything that he does, and he's the only good thing in the Halloween movies for me. And have you ever seen the movie Puma Man? Because he's amazing in that.
no, I have not.
Yeah, that's a good one. Nothing to do with the devil though.
Oh, okay, well,
So when did you first see? When did you first see this one?
I saw. Um, I read about it first. I read about it in Fangoria magazine because there's a character who, while she's possessed, she basically just looks like she has red jelly all over her face. And I remember that image on the cover of a Fangoria magazine that was so striking that I had to read about it. You know, like, oh, Alice Cooper is in this movie and Donald Pleasance from Halloween. And then I saw it on video and I was like, oh, I don't think I really understand this. And much like Halloween 3, I didn't appreciate it until I was much older. Um, and when I say appreciate, I just think it's interesting now, and I think it's kind of a different interpretation for me, and I think I appreciate that
Mhm.
um, as kind of a manifestation of the devil. I don't think it is like one of the best movies ever made or anything, but
I do. I like the idea that this movie actually puts forth that there's actually one more higher than the devil. Like there's a bigger, like even the
yeah,
devil has a boss. They're going to
the
try and drag through a mirror. I think it is. I
yeah,
also
the
do.
anti god.
I do have to say that as much as I don't find the movie particularly entertaining, I do like seeing Victor Wong in a scene opposite Donald Pleasance is a joy to watch. That is a good choice.
Agreed, agreed. What
All right.
about you?
I've got my number 5 is Abby from 1974. It's a black exploitation film. It's mostly been lost to time. I'm not even sure. I saw it like 6 years ago, and I don't know if it's even available now. If you can still find it, but it's got the guy who starred as Blackula, William Marshall, is in this, and he's traveling and he's trying to help this woman get rid of a demon that has taken over her daughter. And Carol Speed plays that character, and she's just incredible. The movie is uh, it's kind of campy, but it's also it's also kind of just really well made in a gritty sort of low budget way that I found it just exciting to watch, and I really just never knew what was going to happen next, and that's really kind of the fun of it. It's a really unique depiction of a demon. You don't often see black people getting stuck in movies like this, so I mean, it tends to be they're able to avoid the devil for whatever reason. So
It's our
seeing
smarter.
William Marshall in this movie, is very cool, and it just to see him out of the Blackula makeup too is cool.
Mhm. Yeah, he was a classically trained actor who just happened to do Blackula and then became, that was what he was basically known for the most. Um, I heard about this movie years and years and years and years ago. Um, and I think I read it in a book about black exploitation, or a long article about black exploitation movies, and
Hmm.
I was like, oh, so it's an Exorcist ripoff, and I mean that's basically what it is. Came out right after The Exorcist came out in 1974, and about it was probably about almost 5 years ago, not quite because I was still living in LA. Um, I used to sell my artwork at a like an open air flea market in LA, and somebody had a bunch of old bootleg DVDs, and I finally found this on DVD. So I actually own this movie. Um, there's something about Carol Speed as Abby, and it's just you can look it up on YouTube too. Um, she is doing a full on demonic Reagan from The Exorcist, and it's so funny if you know if you know the time, and like it's one of those performances where you're just like, I can't look away from this. I just can't.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can't take your eyes off of her. One of the reasons I actually found Abby was I think we were doing an Exorcist episode, and there was a story about Abby, how the film basically became scarce and became hard to find because of a lawsuit. Because
Hmm.
the Warner Brothers, Abby was coming into theaters while Exorcist was still in theaters and still making money, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Get your movie out of here! We don't want this. You're ripping us off." And for many years, it was hard to find or see Abby or even know that it existed because of this lawsuit. And they were able to finally, get it out there in the age of VHS, and it kind of built underground for a while. And it's really still kind of bubbling under as a cult classic.
Yeah. When she is the full on demon and she's got those patches of hair, oh, it's so funny. It's just so funny. Um, but yeah, if you watch this just for Carol Speed, um, it also has Don Henderson from Star Wars in it. So if you're a Star Wars completist, you have to see it.
And Carol
Um,
Speed is just these amazing eyes, just these. She's just in this tiny little face. She's just so innocent looking that when it comes time for her to be possessed, it does it for what it is. I mean, as cheesy as it is, it's like, oh, I don't want to see that. I
yeah.
don't want to, this poor girl. She's so adorable.
The tagline for the movie is Abby doesn't need a man anymore. The devil is her lover now.
Oh man.
Yeah, this is a
Passed away
great.
just a couple years ago. Carol Speed at 76.
Yeah, I wish they had done, like a whole full revival of it.
Hmm. This is
Just
one
so.
that definitely, if you're like somebody who programs or something and you're looking for a midnight, this might be a good one to go with on a Halloween.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Anything else on Abby?
If you haven't seen it, definitely see it. It's worth it. It's campy. But for low budget and for the sheer ingenuity of it, and for her performance and William Marshall's performance, I definitely
Mhm.
recommend it.
My next one is House of the Devil, directed by Ty West. It stars Jocelyn Donahue. She's a college student and she needs some money, so she finds this rental place that she wants to get in on, and it's just a little short. So she decides she's going to answer this babysitting ad and on a job board, and there are no children that she'll be babysitting. She just needs to watch the house. And there's a mysterious old person upstairs in the attic. Um, and she's kind of a she's kind of a plant there. They've brought her in there under other motives. Um, there's there's some really a couple really big surprises that I don't want to give away, but it's a couple shocking parts. Mary Warrenoff is in it from the Warhol '60s movies, and Edie Raoul. all her Paul Bartel movies. Greta Gerwig actually plays Jocelyn Donahue's best friend who comes to see her. Uh, there's pizzas being delivered. It's not Ty West's first movie, but it kind of feels like his first one of like where he finally gets his groove on, so to speak. Um, it's very 70s centric, and that's by design. You've seen
we
that, I'm
did.
sure.
Yeah, we did that one on the show when I think it was when Pearl came out, and I like it. I appreciate it. I don't think it's close to. I don't think anything Ty West did before X really had any appeal to me. I thought his kind of that mumblecore route that he had was kind of like, okay, whatever. But then he did X, and it's kind of made me look at everything that he does differently because now I know he's a genius. So I think I'm much. I look on this movie a little bit more fondly than I did. Still, I don't think it's as good as anything he's done. I mean, obviously, those three movies are amazing, and really just almost untouchable for a threesome from any director other than maybe. I mean, yeah. This is those three movies are incredible, and so House of the Devil is always going to be overshadowed by those, and it'll never be nearly as good. It feels like a better movie just because he directed it, I guess.
Yeah. Do you like the Innkeepers at all?
It's been years. I don't recall enough of it to say if I like it or not. I saw when was that, like 2009?
Yeah, I think so. I like the performances in that movie. I think everybody feels really natural in it. It's been many, many years since I've seen it, so I would have to revisit it. But I do remember liking the performances a lot.
Everything before X, though, feels like a different director to me. Like with X and Pearl and Maxine, it just feels like a director who found an entirely different gear that they never had before. And I'm honestly, I looked at some of his stuff, and it's just like, how is this the same? Like, how is it even the same director? Like, it's so much better now. How did he get so good so quickly?
And what's funny about it is he was only going to make X. The Pearl and Maxine just kind of started by accident.
It kind of makes you wonder if Mia Goth is the genius.
Well, I mean, she is very good.
I think Ty's a great director. I'm just saying, working with her has apparently given him powers he didn't have before.
Yeah, I mean, you get directors who meet somebody that really, like Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler. Look at all the stuff they've done together, and they really are each other's muse, I think. So, why not? Why not Ty West and Mia Goth and everything from now on?
There you go. Yeah, just work together from now on. I'd love that. It made me happy. I want to mention my next one is The Devil and Father Amorth. So I knew who Russell Crowe's character in that awful movie he was in, where he's playing.
No, that's very funny.
It's very funny. It's a funny movie. Yeah. It's not supposed to be funny.
Well,
but I do like it.
Yeah, but we did enjoy it. Okay, just want to.
Yes, did enjoy it. Much funnier than it was intended. But there was a real Father Amorth, the real Vatican exorcist. And William Friedkin actually made a documentary about him in 2018 that is very entertaining, and it's very stylish. It's an all handheld camera, and it does take you through a supposed exorcism. And with it being Friedkin, he's bringing a lot of cinematic talent and style to this, and it is a fascinating look at the same time, completely unbelievable, but still, like the way that it's shot, the way that it's filmed, the way Friedkin takes it seriously is kind of fascinating to watch. And it is set in Italy, and like I said, they're using a handheld camera to cover this what is supposed to be an actual exorcism. Really, it just what it is just kind of a tribute to Friedkin and his everlasting influence in not just the cinema world, but in the way that people treat the subject that he seemingly created, which is the possession movie, which I know Exorcist isn't the first one, but it's certainly the one that created every single trope that came after it, to the point where if you're going to do, say, claim you're doing a real life exorcism, quote unquote, you're going to do it like he did it.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not you're not like you're not breaking any new ground.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like they said in that movie. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I mean, who knew?
Who would have ever guessed? Literally every possession movie is just The Exorcist. Aside from maybe one, which I'll talk about later, which I think maybe is the better than The Exorcist in my opinion, but we'll get to that.
Well, and that's the thing is like when I was looking at my list, I'm like, I do not want to pick The Omen because we just talked about that last year. I don't want to pick The Exorcist because we've talked about that to death. The greatest, one of the greatest horror movies of all time. I still agree with that. I just, why talk about it with this?
Uh-huh.
And Rosemary's Baby, great movie. There's no need to talk about it again. So I went, I was thinking, okay, The Exorcist is great, but one of the more effective thrillers and in the devil genre is actually Exorcist 3, which kind of revitalized the series because Exorcist 2, The Heretic, almost killed it.
So awful. It's so
it just
bad.
the
Just a drunk Richard Burton just stumbling everywhere.
And I still use the Linda Blair line. So, okay, some people will say, when I tell them how old I am, they're like, oh, you don't look like that. I'm like, well, I used to be possessed by the devil. It's okay. I'm not anymore. And I just say it kind of stupid like that because she sounds like a Valley Girl when she says it.
Yeah. It's such a tossed off line.
Yeah. Oh, but I'm not anymore. And that's like the only good thing about that movie. And some of the visuals, not the giant flying locusts. But Exorcist 3 is more of a police procedural, but it has one of the characters from the original Exorcist, Lieutenant Kinderman. But because Lee J. Cobb was dead, they recast him with George C. Scott. And in this movie, there's a serial killer called the Gemini Killer. And he is tasked with finding out who is the killer. Well, they have somebody in custody that they think might be him, but it turns out it's actually Father Karras from the original Exorcist, still played by Jason Miller, who is seemingly possessed by the Gemini Killer, played by Brad Dourif. It has some really good dialogue scenes, some very interesting ideas, and possibly one of the top 5 jump scares of all time in it. If you've seen the movie, you know exactly which one I'm talking about.
The Shears?
Yes, the Shears. And I will watch if you watch the director's cut of this movie, and it's hard to think of a better Exorcist movie next to the original. I mean, the original is a masterpiece. There's no getting around that. But this one is just, it's moody, and it's William Peter Blatty wrote and directed it, ended up adapting it to his book Legion. And the dread that you feel as Kinderman, as, like people are showing up at his house, and it might be a possessed, somebody who's possessed by the devil or the Gemini Killer, or you just never know. It's just such a good thriller, not necessarily a horror movie, although it does, fall into that genre, being an Exorcist movie. So
the me from 4 years ago agreed with you. Me and Bob watched it for the 30th anniversary of it. It was, we both really were really loved it. And then I watched it again for the 90s horror movie project that I'm still kind of working on. I just did not enjoy it the second time. It feels like there's a
Huh.
lot of points where it's kind of spinning its wheels. The fantasy sequences are kind of too funny, unintentionally so. Why is Patrick Ewing here? I don't know. It's the only other credit he has other than Space Jam for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, there's Patrick Ewing. Okay, hey Patrick Ewing. I don't know. The one thing that is consistent, I guess, from both of my viewings of the movie, is I do like the relationship between Kinderman and his best friend, who's in the hospital and who ends up unfortunately dead. I thought their relationship was very sweet. I liked that, but beyond that, the second time I watched it, it felt like I could see the strings. It felt like I could see everything that the direction was, everything that Blatty was doing seemed kind of foreshadowed and a little bit too heavy-handed, a little bit too laid in. And that part of that is just I'd seen it before, but part of that is also just it's much easier to see it the second time. So maybe it's just a movie that just doesn't hold up to multiple viewings.
Yeah. Did you see the director's cut or the regular cut?
I believe it was the regular cut.
Okay. Yeah, I only watch the director's cut. It's so much better. Yeah, it's really.
What if I watched both versions and I don't even realize it? I watched the good one and I watched the terrible one.
That could be. I've had that happen.
I
Throw in the disc and I'm like, oh shit, I threw in the wrong disc.
I watched them 4 years apart, so I mean, it's possible.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite devil movies. So
I think, my favorite demonic possession movie of all time is The Last Exorcist. This movie from for Last Exorcism, excuse me, from 2010. It takes you inside this guy who fakes exorcisms and him coming across what might be a real exorcism. It's it's handheld and found footage, which are things that I typically hate. But this one's got a star performance by Patrick Fabian that is just so amazing. He's a con man priest who's turned exorcist. He's just got this great exorcism scam, and he's got this documentary crew that's following him. And the movie just genuinely just ups the ante. Scene after scene after scene just gets better and better and better. And Patrick Fabian, who's this actor who's never done anything this good again in his life and maybe never did anything as good before this, delivers a performance that is so compelling and so charismatic that all of this begins to work, and the shocks just build and build and build because you can't believe that this guy's in the midst of all this, trying to actually go from being this con artist to trying to be a hero to finding himself in this situation that he cannot possibly get out of. I thought it's just such a great structured film. It's a great looking film. It really uses the found footage aspect well, the documentary footage well. And the ending is an absolute shocker. It's a stunner. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, this one was really, really good. And I've always said that, like ghost movies and religious horror don't do it for me necessarily all the time because of the fact that I'm not a believer and all that. But this was just sometimes when you suspend belief a little bit and watch something like this that is done so well, it's really easy to kind of fall under its spell. And
I'm kind of
Patrick Fabian
surprised.
really,
Yeah.
I think it's because of him. So
I'm kind of surprised we haven't heard much from the director, Daniel Stamm, since then. I'm not looked at any of his IMDb to see if he's done anything since then, but it's like he did such an amazing job on this. I would think we'd be hearing about him a lot more after this because he's just so really clever in his choices. And like you said, if you give yourself over to the experience of it, you could let yourself buy in to the fact that you're watching real footage because that's just how well made this is and how like they build it in such a believable fashion and they ground it so well with that beginning story about how he's a con artist pretending to do exorcisms who ends up at an actual dangerous situation with an actual demon. It's the cleverness and the smartness of it and leading you to believe that maybe that's not what's happening. Maybe that is what's happening. Maybe it's not what's happening. Who knows? It's so good. It's so fucking good.
yeah. And not on my list because I kind of forgot a little bit about it, but since we're talking about this movie and the posters look so similar because it was right around the same time, was The Exorcism of Emily Rose,
Uh-huh.
um, which is kind of elevated, like The Last Exorcism is elevated by Patrick Fabian. Um, the Exorcism of Emily Rose it's really hard to say for me. Is really elevated by Jennifer Carpenter. She's just really good in it, and I wanted to point that out before we stop talking about it. I didn't think I would like that movie again because of
Uh-huh.
my beliefs and whatever, but it was another one that I was pretty sucked into. So
I liked her performance. I did not like the movie, and especially comparing it to like the Last Exorcism. It just to me just felt far more false.
yeah, I get it. You hate everything. Just kidding. You hate everything I like. Dad, is that you?
Oh my God.
I'm totally kidding. Um, not none of these are like necessarily in order for me, but one that I remember liking at the time, and I just couldn't get to it this week to rewatch it to make sure, but I just remember really liking it, and mostly because of the cast, was Devil from 2010. Not directed by M. Night Shyamalan, although everybody seems to think it is. He was one of the
Uh-huh.
writers and he was a producer. Um, but it's about five people stuck in an elevator, and one of them is the devil. So it's a locked door mystery with a really good cast. And who is it? What could it be? And everybody's trying to watch them from outside to see if they're gonna be able to save them, and they're just not necessarily going to be able to be saved because one of them is in fact the devil.
Yeah, 2010 is a good year for for devil movies, apparently.
Right?
John Eric Dowdle, by the way, was the actual director with
Yeah.
M. Night
Yeah.
Shyamalan, providing the story and producing.
Yeah, and because it's the trailer said from the mind of M. Night Shyamalan, everybody thinks, oh, he directed it. No, this is not a Toby Hooper, uh, Steven Spielberg situation. Um, maybe I don't know. Yeah, that's a whole poltergeist thing we'll have to talk about some other time. Anyway, one of the things that I remember liking about the movie, other than the plot, or other than the plot, other than the cast, was the fact that it's that locked door, and I like stuff like that where it's like you have to figure it all out, and you can't really, aside from the fact that the people watching them, all these characters are stuck with each other, literally. And what are they gonna, how are they gonna get through it? That's I like those kind of stories, and I also really like Jenny O'Hara, the redheaded lady in it. Um, she's always good. So yeah, I'm looking
It,
forward
it
to
is
seeing this again.
it's a great cast. I mean, you've got
Yeah.
Chris Messina, you got Logan Marshall Green, who's of course with Upgrade, which is a fucking great movie that nobody talks about enough. I really like Jeffrey Aaron as the Weasley guy. He's a great weasel in
Yeah,
movies.
yeah. And Bokeem
So, yeah.
Woodbine is always good.
Bokeem Woodbine has a great role in this. Carolyn Daverness, as well, is an underrated actress who doesn't get enough work. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Agreed.
excellent choice.
Thank you.
So, my next one is kind of, I guess it's kind of along the traditional lines because I'm kind of debating, been back and forth about the two because I do love both of these movies. I will say that The Witch is a pretty great depiction of the devil on screen in the form of a goat. The
You
Witch
might say it's
is
the goat of devil performances.
see what you did there. I see what you did there. Um, the creepiness, the atmosphere, the direction is just it's so perfect. He's just a genius when it comes to putting together these his films visually. He knows how to pace just to perfection. And the scares, the choices, like we talked about it at the time when it came out, The Witch, that you just never see something like a baby might get into a dangerous situation, but babies don't die in movies. And so when
Yep.
it happens, it's like, oh, fuck, she actually ate that fucking baby. What's going to fucking happen next?
Yeah.
So shocking and so amazing and and pulled off in a scene that just has you just riveted to your seat while you're watching it because you're like, is she going to do it? She fucking did it. Oh, shit.
Yeah. And Robert Eggers says he hates this movie now, and I'm just like,
Really?
how?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
wild.
I read something not too long ago about how he just can't watch this movie anymore, and I'm like, how? It's so good. Amazing cast too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Anya Taylor-Joy is incredible. Ralph Ineson, who has been the MVP of so many movies like The Green Knight. I mean, he's incredible. Kate Dickie is such a great choice as well.
I
Just
love
one of
her.
those great that person actors. Oh, I know them. Like you look at their face. Oh, I
Yeah.
know them. Love
Every
that.
time every time she's in every time I'm watching the Star Wars movies that she's in, I'm like, oh, she's from The Witch. And it's not the other way around.
Black Phillip the goat, and you've got those two like creepy twins. Well, Black Phillip says you have to do what I tell you.
Yep.
Fuck you. Oh my God. That movie is just so amazing. And that ending, my God, that ending is amazing. Totally, you cannot predict what happens at the end of this movie. You can't do it. There's nothing that prepares you for that.
I I really think that's I think the thing that really got me about this was they went there so much in this movie that you're just like, I can't believe what I just watched because it just doesn't ever happen on screen. Um, and from the setting to the ending, it's almost a perfect movie.
Mhm.
Um, I, I, I adore this movie. I sometimes, because it has such a slow pace, it's, uh, one of my comfort movies, I guess. So if I need to fall asleep, but I want to like have something on, I will put this on, and that's not a knock against it. But it's just one of those movies that it's there's not a lot of there's no shooting, there's no car chases in it, so I can watch this quietly and
The
um
score is minimalist. They use it
mhm,
just when they need it.
yeah, and the despair that you get um from the performances, especially by Anya Taylor-Joy, where
Mhm.
she just feels so alone, that comes across so well. Just it's the first movie that I remember really seeing her and noticing her. Um, and just perfection, just really, really, really good.
And
I
the
know that's
set
not very
design. I mean
descriptive. But
that house, the barn, the sets are just so authentic and real. The realistic legend that it's based upon, where these people were run out of the original colony and now they're just in the forest somewhere, far from any other human beings, and just it's so desolate, but it's a forest, so it's got all these grays and greens and browns. The way he uses color, he just that slate gray sky that is there the whole time is so oppressive. It feels like it's right on top of the characters. And then when it gets dark, it is so dark, and you're like, how do you even live like this?
yeah, yeah. I just Yeah, if you haven't seen it, go see it or go see it. Watch it at home. Turn off all the lights and watch it.
So, what would you say is your favorite devil movie?
I guess it's more of a demon movie, but I think we both can agree that Hereditary
Mm.
is one of the greatest possession movies of all time.
I could talk
Um,
about Hereditary for at least a good 3 hours.
yeah, no, we're not going to, but yeah,
No, no.
yeah, everything about this movie. Um, I always harp on the performances being so good. My standout in this one is not Toni Collette. Um, this time I have talked about a million times about how I believe she was robbed as a best actor or best actress nominee for this movie, and I will go to my grave saying that this is one of the all-time greatest performances. Um, but I watched it recently, and a performance that doesn't get enough kind of recognition in it is Ann Dowd.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about her last week with The Friend and how I wish she had been on it. She'd been more of a presence in that movie. And in this movie, she's the perfect amount of, sadness and scares and zealotry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the scene where she's talking to her grandson, her dead grandson,
Mm-hmm.
is just that could have been a supporting actor nominee. I just the way she believes in everything she's saying. Um, this is just one of the best possession movies ever. Um, and it's about, like when you watch a possession movie, everybody around the main character who is becoming possessed is seemingly fighting against that happening. But in this movie, more people are fighting for that to happen. And, all the freaky old people in it and all the freaky young guys in it that are part of this payment cult. Um, just, it's paranoid. It really drives the paranoia home in every single scene.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just perfection.
Millie Shapiro's just haunted face is just so compelling. And when what happens to her is just that is one of the greatest moments I think I've ever seen in a movie. Is her death, and the way that plays out from her being killed to him driving home to him getting into bed to him hearing his mother the next day. That hold and that's the single take is one of the greatest pieces of filmmaking I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
And a lot of credit for that too for Alex Wolff. His face is so amazing. Like it's just so real. It's so real. In that moment, he feel the what he's feeling. You cannot begin to just process what he's going through, and your jaw is just on the floor the entire time.
Ari Aster has the singular ability um, to wring a performance out of almost anybody. Um, you know the way he directs Alex Wolff in this, to where he's just a kind of a sullen teenager to where he's really just, you see the mental break after he realizes what he's done to Charlie, um, trying to help her. Not, he
Mhm.
wasn't doing anything wrong. He
No.
was trying to help her, and it's the paranoia of the cult did it to her, and uh, he just becomes a victim of circumstance that we find out later is his entire life has been leading up to this.
Yeah.
And the fact that Charlie is named a boy's name because they thought that they could possess her. And so you think that, oh, what are they going to do now that Charlie isn't able to be possessed? And it's just, yeah, the look on his face when he realizes what they're doing to him and he's
Mm.
powerless to stop it, just
When he
really,
says
really,
mommy in the movie, he
yeah.
says the word mommy. Like he's a 17-year-old kid who is just regressed to this just childlike terror. And it just jabs you right in the heart.
Yeah.
Also, you got to shout out Gabriel Byrne, like you were saying about the way Ari Aster can command a performance out of an actor. Like he takes everything away from Gabriel Byrne, everything, all the masculine tics, all that Irish bravado is just gone. He's just this.
Mhm.
He's almost this like Lester Burnham before the revelation sort of character, uh, and and then he dies in a way that is just so amazing and so shocking. And I mean, he's like he's it's almost on the periphery of the film at times, but he's holding down this portion of the film that is the seemingly the portion of sanity that's left in this entire world, and then he's gone in the most horrifying fashion. And it's like, it's over now. We're going where we're going now. We're going somewhere we don't want to go.
And it is since we're talking about Gabriel Byrne, it does we should talk about the fact that he was the devil in End of Days and was the best part of that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger
It was a
as the
terrific
devil.
devil
So,
performance. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, he is the he's the only voice of sanity in the entire movie at some point. And when Toni Collette either knowingly or unknowingly hastens his death, and you just have to wonder, did she do it on purpose at some point? Is she caught up in this, and she subconsciously is trying to bring payment into her son and has to get rid of all the roadblocks, or is she just an unwitting victim too? So
Yeah, no, and a lot of people had a problem with those scenes of her crawling around on the ceiling. But I thought, fuck you, that's amazing. The way that he uses shadows in those scenes and just gives you these tiny glimpses of her, and just the way that he has her moving on the ceiling is so believable, and it's so visceral in the moment. I don't know how anybody. I think it was Josh who said he thought that was kind of silly, and I was like, I totally disagree, dude. I love you. I totally disagree. I was breathless every time I caught a glimpse of her.
well, the thing is I can see where in a lesser movie that would be silly,
Yeah,
but the way that it's directed and the way that you're just by that point, you're at a fever pitch of how are they going to um get out of this situation of him being possessed. Oh, well, guess what? She's going to saw her head off with a piano wire, and
oh
that's going to be the
fuck.
last. Yeah, that's going to be the last roadblock to him becoming his demon.
Mm-hmm.
So, when she's doing that, it took me a minute because of the shadows and stuff to realize what she was doing, and then, the body drops away, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, just
Hereditary is one of the greatest movies of all time. Not even just a demon devil movie. It's like one of the great films. Period. Like, it's
yeah,
just the amount of talent that Ari Aster has for just pure cinema. And it's not even about shocks. It's not even about like the horror elements. They're all there, but it's like it's about the way he presents it. It's about the cinematography and the staging. His use of all of the tools of filmmaking to manipulate you to exactly where he needs you to be for him to just drop those emotional bombs on you. Like,
mhm.
that's what great directors do. Every last detail matters, and he makes sure that every last detail in Hereditary and Midsummer matter.
Yeah, yeah. I'm interested to see what he does with Eddington. Just released the trailer for that. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Not yet. I'll
That's his
follow him
new movie.
anywhere.
Yeah,
I'll follow him
that's the
anywhere.
movie that's coming out this year by him, with Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal and Emma Stone.
Wow.
The synopsis is: in May of 2020, a standoff between a small town sheriff and mayor sparks a powder keg as neighbor is pitted against neighbor in Eddington, New Mexico.
Damn. So
And
straightforward considering for what he usually does.
yeah, yeah, I was watching the trailer and I was like, this is an Ari Aster movie. But if you think back to May of 2020, that was, everybody was mad at everybody else, and we're
Uh-huh.
all sick of being cooped up. And
I can imagine him using all of that against us very, very well.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about it too. It's like the precision of both Midsummer and Hereditary, and just the way he uses the tools just so incredibly well. Kind of leads you to Beau is Afraid in kind of a way that it's like Beau is Afraid feels a lot more chaotic, and it's kind of like he set you up. He used those two movies to set you up for the chaos of Beau is Afraid, and like, now I can't rely on anything. Fuck, I'm screwed.
yeah, yeah.
which makes me love Beau is Afraid even more because he's the best there is. Arioster is the best there is, bar none. That's why he's at the top of both of our lists of our episode 666.
Agreed.
So how do you feel about episode 666, Jeff?
I'm very happy.
Technically, you've only been here for what, 250 episodes, but
yeah, I would have to go back in the feed and see how many I was on.
I think I'm the only one who's done 600. No, I've done 665 because I did miss that one episode.
Oh, the one you slept through.
Yeah. So next week is my 666, but
that's true. Yeah, I was just talking about this, a friend of mine was telling me about the show and he's like, oh, I can't wait to listen. And he goes, how far back do I go? You can go back to the beginning. I said, I didn't start being on it until, 2011, I think I was a guest. And we talked about Black Christmas for the first time of many. But I think that I can't believe it's been 666 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that, picking this theme for this week was great because, next week we don't have that many, so we can talk about this week's movies next week. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to 667 and 1212 and 1313.
Exactly. We don't look forward to those other numbers, the zero numbers. We're looking forward to we want the dangerous numbers.
Yes. Oh, Danger is my middle name. Actually, it's William. But...
All right, Jeff. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You go with Satan.
Hail Satan. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
As we say at the end of every show, Hail
yes.
Satan.
Bye.